It was a night to remember the victims of Saturday's shooting in Tucson. President Obama led a memorial service at the University of Arizona. He and others paid tribute to the victims, the heroes who helped save lives, and to Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who remains in critical condition. President Obama delivered the news to the audience that Giffords opened her eyes for the first time since the shooting, and he said no one can know what spurred Saturday's attack.
We have to examine all the facts behind this tragedy. We cannot and will not be passive in the face of such violence. We should be willing to challenge old assumptions in order to lessen the prospects of such violence in the future.
Joining us now with more is CBSNews.com's political reporter Brian Montopoli. Brian, thanks for being with us.
Sure.
The president made a point not to assign blame in this. Are you surprised at all, though, that he didn't talk about whether political rhetoric played a role at all?
I think there was an acknowledgement of the notion that things have gone too far. Certainly the debate around this, a lot of it is centered on Sarah Palin and this question of during the midterm elections, was the rhetoric over the top? Did it encourage violence? Now, Sarah Palin is not responsible for this attack, and there was a suggestion early, almost immediately, people were jumping on the fact that she put out this map with these targets on it and said she created this environment. Now, I think there's a real conversation to be had about the political rhetoric, and personally, I don't think Sarah Palin should have put out that map. But there was a jump that was made where people said, okay, she put out this map, and therefore we're going to assign blame. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes these tragedies happen, and we have this desire to assign blame. There's no blame to be assigned to our political discourse. That's too easy. And I think that's the message that the president sent. He said, look, we don't know why this happened. But he did also say, but that doesn't mean this isn't an opportunity to rise the occasion, to maybe consider how we go about our lives, to consider our political discourse, and to see if maybe there's a better way to do it.
Yeah, it seems like his message was to unite. Does a speech like this really resonate?
I hope so. I mean, I have to say that the conversation that's been had since Saturday has not been the sort of coming together, I think, that a lot of people would have wanted. There's been the right attacking the left attacking the right, this question about Palin's video today on blood libel, all of these things. That's not what we should be talking about. I mean, this is a national tragedy. We had a congresswoman shot point blank, real assault on America and on democracy. And that should be an opportunity for us to come together. And this speech, I think, gives us an opportunity, gives Americans an opportunity to maybe start going in that direction, to pull back a little bit from this real partisan bickering that we've seen in the wake of this thing, and to say, you know what, this is a chance to reassess. Let's move forward.
Historically, when it comes to a presidential speech following a tragedy, how truly important is that?
It's important. You can go back to Bill Clinton after Oklahoma City in 1995. And Clinton, more so than Obama, really drew out this notion that we need to tone down the political rhetoric. That actually angered a lot of people on the right who felt, in the same way that's happening here, that the president, or the left rather, was blaming the right for what happened. But the fact of the matter is that Clinton speech was a big deal, and it helped sort of calm some of these passions. And I do think a presidential speech has the potential to do that. Another thing to look forward to is President Obama's State of the Union. That's going to be on January 25th. Now, in that speech, is the president going to try to expand on some of these themes? I think it's hard to go back to the same old politics as usual. Whether in the House, you've got the job-killing health care repeal bill. Is the language going to change? Is the tenor of the debate going to change? These are all the questions going forward. And this speech was sort of the first foray into trying to shift the debate a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And we also today heard from Sarah Palin. You know, there's been a lot of talk about her, and you've discussed it in depth a little bit too, but I want you to take a listen to what she said today.
Acts of monstrous criminality stand on their own. They begin and end with the criminals who commit them, not collectively with all the citizens of a state, not with those who listen to talk radio, not with maps of swing districts used by both sides of the aisle, not with law-abiding citizens who respectfully exercise their First Amendment rights at campaign rallies, not with those who proudly voted in the last election.
Sarah Palin, where the president did not, she placed the sole blame on the shooter. She said the political rhetoric really didn't have anything to do with that. She also said that the media was inciting, in her words, violence, and it was also inciting hatred. Was that a political statement that she made today?
Yes, and in a lot of ways, I think Sarah Palin's statement today does not compare favorably to President Obama's statement. I said earlier that Sarah Palin has been unfairly blamed for what happened, and that is absolutely true. But her statement today was not a statement of unity. It was a statement of separation. It was a statement of taking sides. And that is not the direction that I think that Americans need to go in the wake of a national tragedy. Now, I will say that if I was Palin, I would be feeling assailed by what's happened here because, like I said, she does not deserve the blame for this. But I don't know that I felt like she rose to the occasion and gave the sort of speech that I would consider presidential in the same way that President Obama did.
She was also being criticized by the Anti-Defamation League because of terminology that she used, saying blood libel in her statement. Now, that's something that people within the Jewish community really do find offensive. Let me ask you this idea of the political rhetoric and toning things down, did she, in her statement today, really pretty much ratchet it up again?
I don't know that Sarah Palin, I certainly don't think Sarah Palin inserted the words blood libel into her speech in order to anger the Jewish community. I can't explain why it happened. I suspect maybe her speechwriters didn't necessarily have a great sense of what that term meant. I mean, it's not a term that's used that often in this day and age, but it obviously has a terrible history. So it served as another distraction, right? Instead of talking about the victims of this tragedy, as President Obama did, Americans today were talking about Sarah Palin saying blood libel, and oh my gosh, let's take sides on that. It didn't help. I mean, we need to stop taking sides all the time. If there's one thing that we can learn from this, it's that. And her using blood libel didn't help, but I certainly don't think she intentionally sought out to offend the Jewish community.
All right, Brian Montopoli from CBSNews.com. We do appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.